Ringo for TGI Sports Talk. A little bit of mixed music there for you this morning. As we look to review yesterday's Game 3, Patriots and the Ravens, 37-26 loss for the Patriots. A mixed bag, guys. On a day that felt like there was some improvement in some ways for the Patriots. The offense finally putting up some points. I thought they looked much more in tune with what the coaching staff is looking to put together here. But on top of that, you had some bad decisions by Mac Jones again. The inability to maintain or contain, I should say, Lamar Jackson, which I was concerned about myself. But this kind of proves the Patriots are not ready for prime time yet. It was a wounded Ravens team. They were down to their fourth string left tackle by the end of the game, missing almost their entire defensive line. Yet the Patriots couldn't make key plays really on either side of the ball. The offense played better. Bad turnovers in some spots. The defense, though, could not contain Jackson. Average over 9 yards a carry. First half, they played well. Dietrich Wise with a career game. But most of it was in the first half, first three quarters. There was Mac Jones' interception in the fourth quarter when we were driving for the go-ahead touchdown. Nelson Aguilar fumbling after a big gain and what might have put the Patriots in a position to again take the lead. The Patriots rushing for 188 yards, averaging 2 points a carry. Most of that being Lamar Jackson, by the way. Patriots did show signs of life, but there's still a long way to go to be competitive with good teams. They were competitive for 3 quarters, 3.5 quarters even here. It was the turnovers on 3 of the last 4 drives that really killed them. You know, this is the third time in 3 games that Mac Jones came off the field with an injury, and this one looks serious, guys. The last offensive play of the game, he just hopped off the field, didn't put any weight on it. The initial prognosis seems to be a high ankle sprain, which is not good news. And we'll see a timetable for his return, but I would be shocked if you saw him in Green Bay on Sunday. Brian Hoyer, put down your clipboard. We know what's going to happen. This isn't looking good. It's looking like a 1-3 start for the Patriots. Jones did throw for 321 yards, did have several positive moments, did some great improvising on a couple of plays. But he did throw 3 picks and no touchdowns. On a fade down inside I think they were inside the 5-yard line, down 31-26, I want to say. He throws a jump ball to Parker that they didn't seem to be in sync on. And it was an easy interception for Humphrey. Now, Devontae Parker on the positive side did have a great day today. Targeted 10 times, 5 catches for, 156 yards. We'll look at the stats in a second. Mac Jones did scramble, as I said, 5 times for 31 yards, but I don't want Mac Jones running the ball that much. He did improvise nicely. There was a play to Redonde Stevenson on a 4th down that looked like a broken play. Maybe it was designed for Stevenson to get open in the flat, but he didn't. He was covered right away, and Jones rolled the other way and got the ball to Jonnu Smith, who actually had a pretty good day yesterday. They had a failed 2-point conversion, which would have brought them within 3 points at that point in time, 31-28 instead of 31-26. Could have made a difference in the play calling, and maybe some of the play calling would have been different that led to these 3 turnovers in the last 4 possessions. Defense definitely missed Kyle Duggar yesterday. His speed could have come into play on some of these passes that they did not defend well. Devin McCourty beat badly by Andrews on a pass down the middle for a touchdown. Just not enough athleticism on that defense for sure. And I think he would have helped in containing Jackson a little bit too, who just ran amok most of the day, at least the second half. They did have 4 sacks on Jackson, all in the first half, 3 of them by Wise, but just not a good start. Not a good finish, I should say. The Patriots did a lot of good things yesterday, but still way too many mistakes. And the defense looked like they took a step back. And they've had trouble containing Lamar Jackson in the past. A lot of teams do. And you could probably get by with that if he's not passing and throwing. But he had a good day both ways, if we'll take a look at that in a second. And again, losing Duggar with the depth is as thin as it is in that backfield, defensive backfield, not good. What else? Again, another good development. I mentioned Parker earlier, the ability to get the ball down the field. Jones did average 10 yards of pass play yesterday as compared to 6 and 7, I think, the last 2 weeks. Now, he did seem to get maybe locked into Parker a little bit too much. With Jacoby Myers out, there was a couple of plays where he just stared Parker down, and it was lucky there weren't interceptions on those plays. They did show more creativity, as I said. Jones did operate under center a little bit more than he had in the previous 2 games, but still most of this, and you got some play action opportunities out of that. But most of this game, they were still shotgun, 3 wide receivers. They did have some more 2 tight end sets, not a lot, but a few, which got the tight ends more involved. Hunter Henry still with only 1 catch, but Jonnu Smith with 4 catches yesterday. Kendrick Bourne still involved in only 20, I want to say on the field for 21 plays yesterday. Had a pretty good day with 4 catches, but again, not in the game enough. He's a game breaker. Patriots only 2 for 9 on 3rd down, 3 for 5 in the red zone. All things that have got to improve, and the improvement is going to be a problem now. If we're going to have Brian Hoyer in for the foreseeable future, don't rule out an IR trip for Jones here. High ankle sprains are not easy to deal with. What else? Isaiah Wynn had a tough day again. 2 penalties for 15 yards, 2nd straight week. He is the weak link on this offense right now, and specifically this offensive line. Patriots tried to move him in training camp or near the end of training camp, and you can probably see why. Even with lack of depth on that offensive line, they're looking to move him. And as I said, Dietrich Wise with a career day yesterday. So some good things, some bad things. Just not sure. I just still don't have a read on for where this team is right now. I mean, stat-wise, the defense I thought played really well in the first half and then kind of fell apart. Patriots led, or I should say trailed 17-14 at the half. They did get a field goal, 30 seconds. They were able to drive the ball into field goal range, and Nick Folk kicked a 50-yarder. And then they came out of the half and scored a touchdown to take the lead, 20-14. Shades of the old Patriots, right? Win the flip, defer, score points on both ends of the half. And you felt like things were going well. But then Lamar Jackson took over. For the Patriots yesterday, statistically speaking, Mac Jones was 22 of 32, 321 yards, but those 3 interceptions were killers. The last one, the game was pretty much over. But the 2 he threw before that, the one in the end zone with some miscommunication, I got to believe, with Parker, and then the one he threw, I think, on the ensuing drive, maybe the drive after that, just killed another scoring opportunity. And the fumble by Aguilar also hurt them. Only 3 sacks for 19 yards. He did do some scrambling yesterday. He did improvise well, and I did think the play calling was a little bit more creative, as we talked about. They did get the tight ends involved. 62 passer rating, not good for Mac Jones. Mac Jones, and it's the decision-making more than the numbers that bother me. He had a couple plays. He had 3 interceptions, but he was fortunate. When they get down there, I believe on their first scoring drive, if I'm not mistaken, there was a play right at the goal line almost where he just stared Parker down, and he's lucky it didn't get picked for 6 as it bounced off the Baltimore defensive back's hands. The running game yesterday, much better. 145 yards on the ground, averaging 5.2 yards a carry. Stevenson played well, got more carries, 12 for 73 yards. Looked like the Stevenson I felt we would see. He did get a touchdown along of 18 yards and a touchdown, as I said. Damian Harris, 11 for 41, 3.7. Again, his workman-like day as usual. One of these guys I feel like needs to take over. I think Stevenson's going to be that guy eventually. Really, neither one of them got involved. I shouldn't say that. Stevenson did have 4 catches for 28 yards, and Harris had 2 for 5. But it was Devontae Parker that led the passing attack from the receiving end of it, and he played very well. Finally, his 3rd game as a Patriot. He only had a catch, I believe, coming into this game, 1 catch. He got 5 yesterday for 156 yards and no touchdowns, but he did have a long catch of 40 yards. He had 10 targets, which is also a good sign. Kendrick Bourne, as I said, only in for 20-ish plays, targeted 5 times, got 4 catches for 58 yards out of that. Aguilar had a 2 for 41, big play near the end of the game. Patriots would have been set up nicely, but he fumbled at the end of that play. Got to take care of the football. You've got to expect somebody to be coming up and closing ground and looking to strip you. And he did not do that. He admitted to it afterwards. Jonnu Smith more involved with 4 catches, but a long of 8 yards. Hunter Henry, non-existent again, 1 catch for 8 yards. I mean, even with the I have a hard time saying this name, but little Jordan Humphrey was involved in more plays, I should say, in for more plays than Kendrick Bourne yesterday. How can that be? Too many fumbles. They did fumble the ball 3 times. They only lost 1, fortunately. It was a big one, though, that one by Aguilar. They did recover 3 of their own fumbles. Defensively, Devin McCourty played well. Let me start with Dietrich Wise. Game of his career, 6 tackles, 5 solo tackles, 3 sacks, tackled 4 tackles for a loss, 3 quarterback hits. But again, most of this felt like it was in the first half. He, along with the rest of the defense, kind of went to sleep, especially in the fourth quarter. Or 3rd quarter, I should say. 17 points for Baltimore. But McCourty played well with 7 solo tackles, but him getting that many tackles tells you a little bit about how many times Lamar Jackson was in the backfield. He and Peppers led the team, and Phillips had 16 tackles between them, solo tackles. They're in on 22. No pass interceptions yet. Oh, 1 pass interception yesterday for who was it? Who had the pass interception yesterday? Jonathan Jones had a pass interception in this game, which looked like a big play at the time. Jones played pretty well as well. Bentley, not his usual game. He was a bit off yesterday. They're not getting much out of Mac Wilson. Godshaw was a bit invisible today. Lawrence Guy got hurt during this game. We'll see how that turns out. The injuries are starting to pile up. As I mentioned, they missed Kyle Duggar a lot in this game. Where else? The special teams, nothing to get excited about. Marcus Jones with 2 kickoff returns, a long of 26. Miles Bryant with a couple of punt returns, an average of 6.5 yards. Folk was 2 for 2, extended his streak inside of 50. And he kicked a 50-yarder in this game as well. Jake Bailey, 2 punts. Turnovers killed this team. The Patriots moved the football. I mean, they had 470 yards of offense yesterday. Outgained Baltimore. Turnovers beat them, and not being able to contain Lamar Jackson. 11 carries, 107 yards, and a touchdown. That you can't do that. Plus, he beat him through the air. He was only 18 of 29 for 218 yards, but 4 touchdowns. That one interception, he did get sacked 4 times, as I said, all in the first half, and the second half just got out of control. You know, the rest of the running game for Baltimore wasn't that good outside of Lamar Jackson. Justice Hill did have 60 yards on 6 carries, but that one of those was a 34-yard carry. So, you know, he was 5 for what, 26 yards the rest of the time. Not awful. But Jackson did the bulk of the damage here. Mark Andrews, who's really become one of the best tight ends in the league, killed the Patriots yesterday. 2 touchdowns, 8 receptions, 13 targets. They were looking for him all day. He's really the only guy that they have. Rashad Bateman had 2 catches and a big fumble yesterday, by the way. DuVernay only had 2 catches yesterday, one big, one for a touchdown late in the game as well. But this Baltimore offense is Lamar Jackson and nothing else. I mean, look at it. He accounted for 50% of their yardage yesterday. He accounted for all of their touchdowns. Patriots have got to play better all-round football. Mac Jones has got to be smarter. Mac Jones we're not going to have for a while. I don't know what you guys think, but I'm not excited about going into Green Bay with Brian Hoyer under center. And I don't think you're going to see Bailey Zapp either. So put down the clipboard, Brian Hoyer, and get ready to play at least this week and perhaps more. Look at, as I said, if the Patriots could have gotten out of if Patriots could have gotten out of I can't get my head out of my mouth. My mouth will get out of my own way here today. If the Patriots could have got out of this game this month, 2-2, they have some very winnable games in October. The Lions, who look better, lose a game in the last seconds to Minnesota yesterday, but they're playing them at home. That should be a victory. They've got at the Browns, who, you know, they're okay, but they know what they're going to get in Brissett, the Bears, and the Jets. And then the Colts, who did get off the winless schneid yesterday with a victory over Kansas City, surprisingly. But then the Jets again. They could have gone on a pretty good run, and they still could. But starting out 1-3 puts this team in a big hole. 2-2 would have been very, very good coming out of the September stretch. But there's too many inconsistencies. We take a step forward, as I say here, and 2 steps back. The offensive play calling, I really do think Matt Patricia is getting it. I think Mac Jones is getting more comfortable in this system. But he's got to make better decisions. I'll be honest with you. I think I've seen Mac Jones make more bad decisions in 3 games than I may have seen in 17 last year. Maybe that's an overstatement, but it feels that way. So this team overall, they better be able to run the ball next week, because Brian Hoyer is not going to be able to throw the ball 40 times and this team have any chance in Green Bay next week, even if they have any. And so there are pluses here, right? Dietrich Wise' performance, awesome. The fact that Devontae Parker stepped up, awesome. The running game, nothing but good things to say there. The offensive line protecting the quarterback better, and also opening up holes for those running backs. The defense, listen, they fell apart in the second half. The lack of athleticism in that secondary shows up when guys like Lamar Jackson are running wild in the secondary. So still a lot of things to clean up. I still don't know what this team is. And we may not know what it is now because Mac Jones is going to be out for a while. Those of you who are down on Mac Jones, he's a smart kid. He'll figure this stuff out. I said this before, and he got better in this offense yesterday. That decision-making, I think he'll fix. I think that does come from some of the indecisiveness that he has within this offense. So it kind of offsets the progress that they made. But I do think if he's not out too long, he will continue to progress. The problem is now, will this team get better soon enough to be a factor in the AFC playoff race? I'm beginning to have my doubts where I did not before. So we'll see. Anyway, Keith Engel, TGI Sports Talk, right here on Let's Talk Sports for your Patriots Week 3 recap. We'll see you after Green Bay, and let's hope that Brian Hoyer's got a miracle